a whole lot of information can be sent via the events to the Google Analytics account. So far, we have discovered. But how that happens and what form of data is this, we still don't know. So in this chapter, let's try to understand that. Let's get started. Welcome back, Google Analytics users. How have you been doing today? Let's quickly go back to the screen. And over here, you will see that I have done some bad drawing again. But then it will help us understand this data inside events. Let's go back to the section of relevance. And in the audience section, I had suggested to you that you can send custom details about audience based on some sort of data gathering that we can do from the website. For example, we had taken this option where this particular red audience, okay, let's call him red audience, is getting this form right on the top. And we are asking them, would you like to share information with us, right? And we had said if a user clicks on yes, okay, then we can ask them the size of the family, maybe some sort of online purchases, what kind of purchase they do, whatever we want to. It's up to the users whether they want to share the information, but we always have that freedom, okay? Now, let's say the user says that my family size is 4, okay? And then we said that we should be able to pass on this data to Google Analytics and then aggregate it, right? Where we can see how many users who have visited the website and opted to fill this form have filled 4, okay? And if my product is for users who have 4 people or 4 or more people in their family, then maybe this is the information that will help us understand that what proportion of users are our target market. This is the discussion that we have, right? But you will realize that this information that the family size is 4 is for a user level information, right? It doesn't change every time the user visits the website, right? The family size will more or less remain 4, okay? And therefore, there are certain types of information that is related to the user, okay? It doesn't change on every visit. It doesn't change on page changes. It doesn't change even if the website changes to an extent, isn't it? So keep that in mind. And I will now show you another scenario, okay? It's the same user. And now there are so many things that's happening over here. For example, when the user logs into the website, okay, the session starts happen and the page is loaded. Remember the page_view event? Now, if the user comes after 2 days and again loads this page, okay, this is not related to the user. Every time the user comes to the website, a new page load happens. And maybe the user will sometimes go to altogether another page, and that has to be captured as well. Similarly, if the user plays this video, okay, and then let's say goes back, leaves the website, comes back again and plays the video again. So there are 2 counts of the user playing the video. Okay, it's the same user with a family of 4, but the video count is increasing. It is not related to the user. Of course, it is related to the user, but the count is not fixed. It will keep on increasing based on how many times the user interacts with the element, right? Similar to this as well, the user can see the product multiple times, and all these are significant in this area, okay? This can happen multiple times, and one user has the ability to fire it multiple times, while there are some properties that is specific to that user and will not change over a period of time unless the user deliberately changes it. Therefore, if you closely notice, every event has got 2 kinds of data that you can send. One is event scoped, the other is user scoped. So imagine your mind that you are trying to understand how to model the data of your own website. Every website is different, and we are going to talk about this in detail. But imagine that's what we are trying to do right now. You will have to figure out, first of all, that what is the data about user, what is the properties of a user that I want to collect, and at what point I want to collect, and what is the data of the user that I want to collect at an event level. That means that every time the event fires, user does something, I need to send another count update to the Google Analytics account, right? Just like we saw in the button click. So there are 2 ways you can do it. And if I were to show to you this, how this happens in Google Tag Manager, now don't worry about Google Tag Manager. This is not significant for us at this point of time. But what I will show to you is that how does this look like actually if we are trying to see it in a visual format, okay? So this is the Tag Manager account for the TryShop events that we were seeing, okay? And that has been configured over here. And this is something typically your developer would be doing for you, okay? We will take a quick look at the conceptual part over here. But over here, let's say I open this event, GA4 menu, click, okay? And over here, you will see that the GA4 event is getting fired. The configuration tag, remember the tag that we had seen, okay? The ID, measurement ID that has been configured over here. And then there is a menu click, that is going, and along with that, there is something called event parameters going, and below that, there is something called user properties. So you can send the event parameters in name value format like this. Okay, so I'm saying the button name is equal to the click text of the button that is getting clicked, and the page name is equal to the page path, that is nothing but the path that comes after the URL. Okay, this is the page path. Okay, so that's how it has been configured. And similarly, you can configure user properties by giving some name value pairs over here. Okay, so you can say that home page visitors, and the value is like, you can say yes or something like that. Okay, I'm just throwing some examples for you to understand. This may not be the right way to configure, but that's the idea. So that's how you configure the event parameters and user properties inside the tag manager. You can obviously do it from the code as well. Your developers would know that better. Okay, but the idea over here is, at a conceptual level, is along with the event, you can send two kinds of information. Okay, one that is linked to the user and will only change if the user changes it deliberately. It doesn't change on every user visit or every event fired. Okay, and there is a kind of a data that changes on every event fired. Every time a user does some action, it has to change. Okay, and therefore two levels of data, and you have to now think of how to model them, how to decide on which one you want to send a particular information. If I go to my analytics account again, you'll see that users by user property shows something as category lovers. Now this is related to a user, that's mine. Okay, and it says that my account that just logged in, okay, is a category lover of type hoodies. So I love hoodies, and I generally buy hoodies from this website, and that's what it's a property. That's my my attribute. It's not something that changes on every event, and therefore this is logged in as user property. To summarize, let's go back to our shop page in the dummy e-commerce page that we are looking at. And in the shop page, in short, let's discuss what is this all about. So if I were to understand that how many of the users that visit my website actually click on the shop menu, okay, that's quite a question that you want to figure out. But then how do you do that? You fire an event when somebody clicks on the shop. Okay, so what really happens is, when somebody clicks on the click, the developers would actually fire a Google Analytics event. And in that event, they can send information. For example, they can send information such as the name of the button that was clicked. So in this case, it would be shop. If somebody clicked on the sample page, the name would go as sample page. That can be a variable that can be filled by the developers who are working to implement Google Analytics. For example, you want to see that how many users generally look for these hoodies. Okay, so a good way to do that is, if they visit this hoodie page, okay, and all the other types of hoodie pages as well, you can say that this user is generally interested in hoodies. But then this is a user level property, because what you are attributing to is not that particular event of when they visited, but the user who likes those hoodies. And therefore you can also send information of users when they log onto these pages such as hoodie or hoodie with logo, that this user is generally interested in hoodies. Okay, and that becomes a segment of your users. Now, you know what? You can go to the audiences that we checked out before, and there you will find that this kind of category lover of hoodies is there for you to create a segment of audience on. You can go to your audience, create a new audience, select all those audience who are under the hoodie lovers category, and that's it. You will see the data of how they are behaving, what they're doing, all the hoodie lovers, what are their different actions that they're taking, and so on. Okay, so that's the power of Google Analytics, especially the events, and why it becomes so important that you model the data yourself, and Google Analytics will give you the freedom to see the data that is specific to your business, and you drive all these things. So Google Analytics gives you the power of deciding of what kind of data model you want that is specific to your business, that is specific to your business interests, and it will allow you to do all that configuration using these events. Events data that you can see aggregated in all the different kinds of reports that we are already discussing in Google Analytics, and in future also the next sections we'll see where all this gets captured, and you can see it and make business decisions. And also in the user related data such as audiences, where you can configure your audiences to see that whether these audiences are in my target or not. Okay, now you would need a lot of developer help if you are not doing it yourself. Okay, if you're not a practitioner of Google Analytics, you would need the developer help, but then you will be the one who will drive these kind of projects, because now you understand how these things work on a conceptual level, and you can explain your developer better what you exactly need. But we are still not there yet. Let's keep doing the hard work. Okay, and I will now meet you in the next chapter. Thank you.